the message there is so clear. Today is Epiphany. In some churches, and the Orthodox churches, this is actually their Christmas Sunday. It's also the time that's recognized as when the Magi saw Jesus, came to see Jesus. And it fits in with the scripture because the Magi were not Jewish. And for so long, in the early days of the church, they thought Jesus had just come to be the Messiah. And he was. He had come to be the Savior of everyone. Scripture today talks a little bit about how, and alludes to how the Gentiles felt like they were outsiders. There was this real conflict in the early church. There were the Jews who had walked with Jesus and had been part of that, and they had followed Jesus and had become Christians, even though they weren't called that yet. And then the word began to spread, and these outsiders showed up. These people who had not been waiting on the Messiah. They just heard about this great teaching, this life, death, and resurrection, and they too wanted to become Christians. And a lot of the early Jewish Christians just weren't sure about that. They just weren't sure if those Gentiles, and that's how it was said, those Gentiles could actually follow Jesus. And Paul was the one called to preach most to the Gentiles. We'll talk about why that was kind of a giggle on God's part. You ever heard them make plans and watch God giggle? I think that Paul was sent to the Gentiles was a real joke in the sense. But have you ever felt like an outsider? Have you ever felt like maybe you just didn't fit in? Maybe you weren't welcome? I felt like that sometimes. I felt like maybe I just wasn't supposed to be there. Especially if you walk in and people look at you like, are you supposed to be here? I talked this week to Jennifer Lolandy, who was part of our church a long time ago. And the first time she came, we were on Kirk Avenue. And it was a cold and icy morning. And she came in with a little red-headed baby. I refer to her as a crawler because that's about where she was at that time. And I remember several of us, because we didn't have any children in the church at that time, several of us went, does she know where she is? Why is she here? And she stayed, and we watched that little girl grow up, and that little crawler is now a freshman in college. But I know that we might thought she was maybe an outsider. When I went to my first clergy conference in MCC, I had just moved to California. I didn't know anyone. And I was this new clergy person at my first church. We had this conference, and everybody knew everybody, it seemed, and I felt like a real outsider. I met Reverend Jerriette Harvey, and she pulled me into the fold. First Sunday I ever went to an Episcopal church. Having grown up Baptist, it was really, really different. I could not be an Episcopalian today because I cannot get up and down like you had to for that Sunday. But they had all these things they were reading that I knew to be from Scripture, and I didn't know if anybody else knew. And they called out some hymn numbers, and they were the same words, but they had really different tunes to it. We've all felt like outsiders sometimes. You may have felt like an outsider the first time you came into this church. But Paul was making very clear there was an inclusive message in the message of Jesus. Now, when I said Paul was an unlikely candidate to preach to the Gentiles, Paul was a Jew of the Jews of the Jews. He was a super Jew. He had been trained. He had been in all the places. He knew all the right words. He was being groomed probably to be the high priest. But God said, I've got another idea. And on that road to Damascus, Paul's life was totally changed around. Now, I'm wondering if it wasn't a little strange to him to think, you want me to go to those Gentiles? You want me to go to them? I talk this talk that the Jewish people talk. I know how to talk to them. I can prove to them that Jesus was the Messiah. But these people, like at Ephesus, they had all kinds of other different gods. The inclusive message. You know, Paul was actually mistreated and hated for his impartiality. Sometimes if you develop an inclusive mindset, people who are still in a more narrow mindset won't like you, won't understand it, will think you're really, really wrong. When I first started going to MCC, most of my Baptist friends thought I'd joined a cult. It wasn't a natural path for Paul. wasn't a natural. And it actually made him have to go against how he was raised. How many of us over the years have said, well, I was just raised that way. I was just taught that way. That's what my dad, my mom, my grandparents, I was raised that way. You know, sometimes we have to get past our raising. We have to get past our raising and realize that maybe, just maybe, God has a new and different message for us. Hallelujah. Paul was given special insight into Christ. Paul was given an understanding that Christ was Christ for the world, not just for the Jewish community. And he's used words that would have really rattled some of the Jewish folks, because he says that they were fellow heirs. They were on equal standing to inherit God's love and mercy and grace. I don't know if you've ever been involved in a will when someone dies. Many times that leads to a lot of family conflict. Amen. Hallelujah. Because one person may be treated differently than another. And the person who's responsible for it isn't there anymore, so you can't be mad at them. That's where those family squabbles come from. Well, the Jews were hearing Paul say, you're on equal footing, Gentile, with me. But Paul just kept preaching that the grace of God was for all people. For all people. Most of us do not come from a Jewish background. Had Paul and God not extended this message to the Gentiles, where would we be? Who would we be? What would we be doing? So how do we make outsiders feel welcome? We do a pretty good job of that here. I warned Jeff before the passing of the peace last week that a lot of people would come over to him. And he said, oh, they've already been here. They've already been here. But you know, there are ways that we think we're making outsiders feel accepted and comfortable, but we may not be. We have to be careful about how we talk about things, and just saying, well, you know, we're going to do thus and such. They may not know what we're talking about. It may take some extra understanding. It may take more than just that quick handshake when they walk in. It may take helping somebody find the place in the scripture if they're trying to read that. It may even be explaining to someone where the restrooms are to make you feel accepted. Some of you may remember the first time you took communion in MCC. It may have been radically different than what you'd had before. You know, I grew up in a Baptist church where you pass the plates, you get the little wafer, the little square, you get the little cup, and everybody would eat the wafer together and do the cup together. And I walked into an MCC, and first of all, there was this stuff. Not being negative about that, but it was different. And then they said some words over it that I'd heard in the Episcopal Church somewhat. And then people started coming forward. Now, I'm usually pretty observant, but I guess I was just caught up in thought, because when it was time for me to come forward, I just walked up here, and all of a sudden, my first pastor, an African-American woman, dipped that wafer, gave it to me. I was grateful. And then she hugged me and started praying for me. And she prayed for me like she knew me. That was different. And for the next 3 Sundays, the minute communion was over, I ran out the door. Literally, down the steps, down to the grass there in Norfolk on the hay. The 4th Sunday, she'd seen this evidently. Because the 4th Sunday, by the time I got to the bottom of the steps, she came running after me and said, stop, who are you? You laugh at the right places, you nod at the right places, who are you? And that's how I ended up staying in this church. She scared me, but made me feel accepted. You know, Paul also talks in this passage about the boldness we need to have, understanding our access to God. God does not expect us to be all mealy-mouthed and pitiful and crawl on our knees and just beg God to listen to us. We can come before God with boldness, with assurity, with confidence that God's there. You ever had to walk up and talk to somebody and you really weren't comfortable with it, you weren't sure, and you kind of hang back and stay on the edges? But if it's someone you know well, you go right up to them. God is that entity, that person that we know well, and we can boldly come to God. God doesn't have call waiting. God doesn't say, take a number, I'll get back to you. God doesn't ask to see your ID, to see your giving record. God simply says, child, I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm here to care. I'm here to love you. I'm here if you want to be mad at me. I'm here if you want to be happy with me. And Paul wanted these people at Ephesus to know that they had that access. They didn't have to come and beg. I think it's important that we remember when we were new to this faith walk. Some of us have been involved in church all our life. I went to Sunday school when I was 3 years old. There were seldom many Sundays that got missed in that next 64 years. But we forget some people walk in these doors brand new. They don't know what a doxology is. They may not even know what communion is. And I love the fact that a few weeks ago, we had a visitor, and it was time for communion. And Charlotte simply walked over to him and said, would you like to go to communion with me? And brought him up. Didn't just look at him and say, what if he's going to go? What if he's a Christian? What if he's a heathen? What's he doing in here? She went over and escorted him up to the front. Sisters and brothers, we're called to speak up. We're called to speak up and tell people about this abundant grace and mercy of God. We're called to speak up and tell folks that God's love is inclusive for everyone. God doesn't ask for any identification. He simply said, I want to talk to you, God. I want to get to know you. To God, there are no outsiders. To God, as Troy Perry often says, God doesn't have any stepchildren. No stepchildren. We're called to speak up and let those who may be lonely know there's a God that loves them and a place for them. Those that are needy. I wish you could be here some Thursdays when the food pantry is in operation, because they don't ask a lot of questions. They find out how many are in the family, and they take them into our food pantry and say, you can have a certain number of these and these and these. There's no just handing you a bag and hoping you can use it. Boldly showing people what access means. I challenge myself and I challenge you in this coming year to seek the outsider. They may look just like you. They may speak just like you, but they may still feel like an outsider. Find that outsider and bring them in. Don't just show them the door. Come in with them. I'm not just talking about the building. Catching this? Find the outsider and walk with them for a bit. And maybe they'll see your Jesus walk. And they'll think, that's a pretty good walk to take. And they'll want to do it. None of us have to stay outsiders. Amen. Amen.